and Ika began watching WWE in January 2025 during the Royal Rumble. Ika is brand new to WWE, while Kenny is returning for the first time in over 20 years. They appreciate your patience as they learn everybody's names and finishers, as well as past events concerning the WWE brand and or characters. They promise they will learn it all in due time.
We have a Friday update for you on Seth Rollins prepared, Nika, because Seth Rollins, it turns out, is guest hosting the Rich Eisen Show that's on Roku every day. And then they always post clips of it to YouTube and shorts from interviews because they have sports athletes, sports journalists, and they talk about sports topics, kind of like our show. And they get a lot more high profile guests, and they also have like movie actors and directors and stuff like that on, and they talk about their work and their pop culture, and they also do WWE and I believe AEW as well. So they really cover it all when it comes to sports. And anyways, I had remembered that Seth was going to be hosting this because I remembered it was around the time NFL training camps were going to be getting started. And I was like, oh, that's perfect because he's such a big football fan, such a big Bears fan. And, you know, we're originally from Chicago. We cover the Bears a little bit on our show, but it's been quiet of late.
The Bears.
Exactly. Our favorite Windy City friends, the super fans over there. It is almost football season upon us, but we got to get the big juicy nugget out of the way first, which was that Seth Rollins addressed his big knee injury over the weekend during Saturday night's main event in like almost like an interview fashion here. He made a statement first, like sort of an opening statement about like, this is what happened and this is what I'm faced with right now.
You're talking about on the Rich Eisen show.
Yeah.
Okay.
He didn't like come on Raw. We didn't see him during Raw. We saw Paul Heyman address the injury on Raw
without addressing the injury.
Correct. He just basically said that Seth Rollins has a year to cash in the Money in the Bank briefcase.
Right.
And that's where we were left after Raw. So seeing Seth on the Rich Eisen show then Wednesday morning, I was like, oh yeah, duh. And then it turns out we get this big update from the man himself about his injury. So without further ado, let's just get right into that first, shall we?
Absolutely.
All right. Let's hear from Seth.
Myself on the monitor right here. I look great. I'm not going to lie. But underneath this monitor, I do have a leg brace on. Over in the corner are my crutches. This past Saturday, I was in a match on Saturday night's main event, which a special on NBC on Peacock. I was in a match with LA Knight, and I hurt my knee. I was doing a move that I do all the time. It's a moonsault, a backflip. In this particular instance, I was landing not on my belly, but I was landing on my feet. When I landed, I felt my knee kind of pop and buckle. We got out of the match and we moved forward. Monday, I was in Birmingham, Alabama, where our specialists are at. We tried to take a look at the knee through some imaging. It was a little too swollen, so we're going to take another look, hopefully in a week or two here in LA, to try to get some sort of firm diagnosis, and then we can go from there. I am not a doctor. I only know my body and what I feel, and what I feel is that this is going to be me out for an extended period of time.
All right, can you pause it for a second?
Sure.
So this feels like a big setup here. A big, like, this is almost, I don't want to say scripted, but I do think he's this is like akin to releasing a statement, like through the press. This is like a very safe answer, but a couple red flags here. Like coming up with a diagnosis over the next couple weeks for a knee injury just doesn't seem right to me. It doesn't align time-wise with what I know about imaging and like swelling going down. It doesn't take 2 weeks to get the swelling down enough to get an x-ray. We know this from baseball. Like,
we know.
It does take a day, maybe an overnight, to get a better image. Like, icing, like especially with hand bone injuries, but a knee is not going to give you that same.
Well, it will give you swelling.
Of course, but it shouldn't necessarily be inconclusive because of that.
We have seen too many injuries on the field from the players that we follow, whether that's basketball, football, or baseball.
Yes.
And yes, the first imaging, it's never conclusive, but the second one, yes. And it's done next day or third day, not 2 weeks. Come on.
Of course. So that line, whether it was just a slip up of the tongue while he was happening on, TV here and just going with,
He was
going with the
it.
flow. Sometimes
Yeah.
it happens. We're behind a microphone and you just start talking and babbling, and the next thing you know, you got to keep talking, and you get yourself into these weird
Predicament?
places that you got to
Yeah.
dig yourself out of. So he could have just misspoke and said, like, we're going to figure it out over the next couple of weeks what the big plan is. And it might take that long to come up with a whole, like, okay, you're going to have knee surgery and this is when we're going to try and get you back into the story. Because I think that's the big thing that's at play here is Seth Rollins was a big part of the story right now. And it just sucks when you have to address that reality when it's a scripted show, because then it's
True.
like real life is interfering.
I understand that, but at the same time, is this real injury or he aggravated an existing injury and he needs more time to recover?
Well, either way, the one thing I will say too is he mentioned that his knee buckled and that he felt something pop. And
We didn't see that.
while I won't say that I was in his shoes, I didn't feel what he felt. The video evidence, I've said this before, didn't really make me squirm, didn't make me squeamish. It didn't look like something happened at that particular moment. I didn't see the buckling, I guess, that he referenced. So it's possible that it happened. I'm not saying it didn't. I'm just saying what I saw with my own two eyes right now. That's all.
Okay.
So having said that, all right, I think we covered everything. Let's continue.
We were talking off air earlier, and it is a bummer. But look, it is what it is. Our business moves on. This isn't the first time that I've been injured. It won't be the last time. And I've always just got WrestleMania in the back of my mind. I'm like, can I make it back for WrestleMania season, for the whole thing? And so that's my brain always goes there. And I feel good about that. But beyond like a firm timeline, I just won't know until we get a better answer on the MRI. So that's where it's at. If you guys have any questions or you want to get anything out of the way, that's where I'm at with it. I'm open to whatever you guys want to, if you got any questions.
That's it.
All right. So this went on for another couple minutes, and they did wind up asking Seth Rollins like how he's doing mentally about with all of this right now. And they kind of kept it in character, and he gave a pretty standard answer here, like, oh, I'm looking forward to spending time with my daughter and maybe my family a little bit. Obviously his wife is Becky Lynch. She's not injured. She's the women's intercontinental champion, and she's not going on vacation. She has a big match coming up at SummerSlam with Lyra Valkyria again.
Do you think they travel together?
I would
imagine.
assume that they would. Why not?
Yeah.
I mean, you're not gonna stay in separate rooms while you're
No. I mean, like if he stays at home with a kid and she just goes on the road, I would imagine they go together, even during the injury.
I would imagine something like that as well. So I'm not privy to their travel arrangements, of course.
Of course not.
All right. Well, a couple of other things stood out here.
Okay.
One was that, he mentioned again the timetable. I want to bring that up. It's Wednesday morning. Mm-hmm. The injury happened Saturday night. That means we've had 12 hours into like Sunday morning, and then all of Sunday. We had all of Monday, all of Tuesday. And now it is 12 hours from like Tuesday night to Wednesday morning. So we've literally had 3+ days since this happened. And to say that an MRI would still be inconclusive for someone as important as Seth freaking Rollins is to WWE right now, I question that. I really, really do.
It's a legit question.
Let's get that out of the way. The other thing I want to say here is he's like already planting a seed
For WrestleMania?
for misdirection by mentioning WrestleMania, because that sort of sets a loose expectation in people's minds, like, oh, he's going to be out until at least then. That sucks. And if he's not going to be out until at least then, it just makes the whole shock surprise of when he does come back and quote unquote probably cash in that briefcase when he does.
And we also know that he has a year to cash in that suitcase, according to Paul Heyman.
He did say that on Monday Night Raw. That was where we left things Monday night.
Right.
This is what he's responding with Wednesday morning. And so, yeah, that would fall within the year. And again, I just feel like there's a lot of things being dropped in here to read between the lines with. You know, we had the reports and we were hesitant to cover them that this was a work because I would just hate to put a guy in that situation. And,
Sure.
And at this point, though, I think there's so many people talking about this and commenting about this that we felt like we were, okay, we can talk about this now. And this even adds to it, in my opinion. Look at how calm he is about this.
I know, he's not freaking out. And he's a Seth freaking Rollins.
And I guess that's where I kind of want to leave things with Seth right now, which is to say that this whole appearance on Rich Eisen was planned.
Oh, yeah, way in advance.
And he's great on the microphone. Just as a Raw performer, he's a great heel. But he's also a great conversationalist and a great interviewer, a great interviewee. He's just loves talking. You can tell that. And I can relate to that.
Does he listen?
He seems like he's a little bit better of a listener than me. I'm going to keep working on my listening skills, Nika. Nevertheless, I can't help but notice how undevastated he feels. Like, I want to bring that timetable back into focus here. 72 hours-ish removed from possibly cashing in Money in the Bank at SummerSlam and getting another title run in the WWE at the age of, 39 he is? And going from that to being laid up with another knee injury and a long line of knee injuries, I would be devastated, you know? And I don't know if I would be as upbeat and cool and calm and collected as he is, even with all my handlers talking to me ahead of time and being like, you got to do this, you know? Like, and so anyways, just things to keep in mind when it's a planned appearance like this ahead of time. It just kind of coincided nicely with the injury and this announcement and everything, didn't it?
Absolutely.
And you know, Rich Eisen and them, they're probably loving this. They're probably loving that a big high-profile WWE performer is like basically breaking news on their show as the guest host, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
They're probably just like, oh, this is amazing that this or this was all planned out ahead of time, or the WWE is planning this and capitalizing on this opportunity that Rich Eisen bestowed upon Seth freaking Rollins. There's a lot to unpack with this, but well, let's leave it there with Seth for now.
Okay.
Let's turn our attentions to the latest that I could find from Credible Sports News website, and that is CBS Sports. And I wanted to clip this article specifically because it feels like the author here, Shaquille Majuri, I think I'm saying that right, but that's an interesting, awesome spelling of Shaquille, by the way, because it's not Shaquille O'Neal, the typical way I've used to been seeing it.
Okay.
So cool spelling, and I hope I'm pronouncing it right. But it seems like Shaquille here got a hold of Paul Heyman himself and got Paul Heyman quoted in his article directly.
So did he call him directly?
I'm just wondering how this works. You know, like, is he touching base with Paul Heyman ahead of time, saying like, "Hey, you ready to do the bit?" Like, or is he just like calling him, like kind of stepping on pins and needles as he does so, like, hello, is this Paul Heyman for real? Like, I'm just kind of wondering how this all works in the real world.
Because it's a real journalist.
It is a real journalist that is seemingly covering WWE as if it's real sports, and yet we all know that it's scripted. So there's this whole level of postmodernism here about like what's real and what's not, and it is fascinating to me, honestly.
It is fascinating, but it plays into this whole fake news stuff.
It does.
It really does.
It really does, and I feel like they're capitalizing on that intentionally. Let's read the headline here. Seth Rollins' injury Paul Heyman reacts after WWE Saturday Night's main event setback. Heyman is embracing the chaos as Rollins' injury throws the WWE's plans into question. And this is just a 2-minute read here from Shaquille, so thanks for keeping it short. We'll break it down and read between the lines.
We'll try.
We'll try.
We'll try.
Seth Rollins' status is suddenly one of WWE's most compelling situations. A knee injury suffered against LA Knight at Saturday night's main event forced what appeared to be an audible, but whether the damage is real, exaggerated, or scripted is unclear. So here you have CBS Sports, the most credible name in journalism, right? Going back to the 50s. Yeah, I know. The modern day, it's not what it used to be. Walter Cronkite's rolling over in his grave. I get it. I really do, more than you probably know. I'm going to roll over in my grave over it one day. It's going to keep getting worse and worse and worse. But yeah, this is why I think I felt comfortable now addressing whether this is real or fake in my mind right now. Is because here you have CBS openly questioning it. Paul Heyman, Rollins' self-proclaimed oracle, welcomes the uncertainty as part of WWE's evolving storytelling. See, this is seemingly like Paul Heyman, I just want to remind people, went on Pat McAfee's show on ESPN and started like making Pat McAfee turn red, look really uncomfortable by questioning his bosses at ESPN and like whether he was allowed to say certain things about certain people. And so I'm just saying, like, Paul Heyman's definitely a disruptive figure when it comes to his persona. Yeah, he uses his character to incite these controversies, I guess, about what's real and breaking the fourth wall and
stir the pot, create drama.
It is working.
Mm-hmm.
It is working. And it is part of the evolving storytelling, as they mention here. Quote, Seth Rollins being injured is a fact of life, Heyman told CBS Sports while discussing the July 23 release of WWE 2K25 on the Nintendo Switch 2.
That's
Quote,
the big promo.
It's an inherent danger in this industry. So here we have some, I guess, reasoning for the interview itself, which is the release of the WWE 2K25 sports game on the Nintendo Switch 2. So let us know if you're picking up the game in the comments below. Let us know if Nika and I should be buying and playing this game. You know, I have never played a 2K25 WWE game. I've played the NBA.
I know, but maybe we can put it on the PlayStation through Twitch and
stream some matches against each other.
Yeah,
we can take out all our aggression on each other in the ring.
Are we gonna make it scripted?
I want to be able to create your own character. If you do, then because you know it plays into the whole fun aspect of it, right? Like you can make your own career out of it.
Yeah, okay.
I want to hold the titles. Yeah,
it's an idea.
All right,
I get behind it.
All right, Heyman's conviction aligns with early reporting, but adds little clarity. Most believe Rollins is legitimately injured. Whether the setback occurred Saturday or served to conceal a minor pre-existing issue is debated. To Heyman, a 46-year professional wrestling veteran, the ambiguity is a tool. Quote, quote, the media will exploit their access to us by having more in-depth reporting behind the scenes. We're going to exploit that access to the media by devising storylines that are enticing to the readers, viewers, or the people who consume that content, end quote, Heyman said. That's hilarious and fascinating to me all at the same time that he's basically admitting it. He's basically admitting like, yeah, we know that people are here to eat up whatever we say to you guys, and we're going to just drip it out right to you. Like he's admitting the game to the face of the people that they're using, and yet they're putting it in print on CBS Sports. Like it's fascinating times we live in.
Yeah.
It now becomes another platform for us to use. It's just the evolution of the relationship. The reporters get closer to the product and the product gets closer to the reporters. I mean, this is kind of what we've been talking about since we started watching again, was like, wow, like, you know, John Cena is slamming R-Truth through a table in the middle of a quote unquote real press conference. You know, Jey Uso is getting interviewed as Jey Uso at a podium after winning a championship belt. Like, this stuff didn't happen when I was a kid. When I was in my 20s, it didn't happen. So somewhere along the lines, we missed when this evolution takes place. And it seems like what Heyman is saying here is that it's more recent, right?
Mm-hmm. It seems that way.
Rollins has battled through knee injuries before. The 5-time world champion needs more medical examinations, but believes he'll need an extended break from in-ring action. Again, we just mentioned how Seth Rollins himself says that he needs more medical examinations. So here you have the CBS reporter now playing up that angle of it, even in the same article where he's saying, like, this might be real or it might be scripted. So it's pretty crazy. If true, his injury could significantly impact his latest alliance. Since WrestleMania 41, Rollins has served as the anchor of a rising faction involving Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. Now they must take charge, and Heyman calls it a, quote, put up or shut up moment. Wow. Talk about putting Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed both on notice. It's like Michael Jordan goes down and, like, you need Scottie Pippen and Dennis Rodman to make up for all of it and then some, because they got to keep doing what they've been doing too, right? Boy, oh boy, tough times for Seth Rollins' posse.
No kidding. But Braun Breaker has been getting a lot more mic time since the injury of Seth.
Yeah, he has. Even before the injury of Seth, I remember he took the microphone from him at Raw, one of those evenings. All right, quote, this allows even more spotlight to be put on Braun Breaker, who is going to main event multiple WrestleManias in the future, Heyman said. Quote, I was predicting that even before Braun Breaker was with me on television.
No?
So
he is the Oracle.
he is, and he is known for his predictions, and so we'll wait and see if these actually come true. I mean, he might already damn well know. Quote, Bronson Reed is the most underappreciated and underutilized monster that we've had for years. Finally, he gets the spotlight to have the right opponents to smash. He gets the right opponents to tsunami. Before, it was an effort to get Bronson Reed into a main event. Now the main eventers line up for him.
Check that out.
Well, I mean, a little Heyman goes a long way, I guess, when it comes to your promotional status within WWE. Yeah, I mean, the Bronson Reed paragraph versus the Braun Breaker paragraph reads a little bit more like overselling to me from Paul Heyman here. But nevertheless, he gives both of the
muscle,
both of the goons, the muscle, a little bit of limelight, a little bit of polishing for the press, I guess.
Okay,
a little glazing for the press. All right, Heyman is featured on 2 WWE 2K25 covers. The original with Roman Reigns and the Bloodline edition. It's awkward timing after Heyman betrayed Reigns to align with Rollins at WrestleMania. Heyman has been advertised as part of more consecutive WrestleMania main events than Reigns, and hopes the same will be true for the video game franchise. There will come a time when Seth Rollins, Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed, and Paul Heyman are on the cover of the 2K20 or on the 2K franchise, Heyman predicted. I would suggest hopefully it'll be quite soon. This is Shaquille's latest from Paul Heyman on Seth Rollins' injury, and you know, they didn't really spend a whole lot of time talking about the injury itself, and it's more about promoting the other men in the stable.
And the games.
The new 2K25 games, which get name dropped, a couple times at different points in this article. And then you have very little about Seth Rollins. Just, it is openly questioned whether this injury is real or not, because there's conflicting reports on there. And there's even a third report that says it might have been a pre-existing injury.
Yeah.
And they're just using this as a way to get him out for a little bit to heal. Either way, weird times in WWE.
A lot of misdirection.
Yeah, a lot of misdirection, and it's. I guess. Do you think we're going to continue to see the reporters like play into the, I guess, trap that WWE is putting in front of them? Like,
absolutely.
It seems like Paul Heyman is just like, dangle, dangle. Here you go. We're going to give you some nuggets, and you're going to come leaping like little lap dogs for it, and the press is like, okay, we're
They
going
will
to come
eat it up.
and lap at you like little lap dogs.
Yep, absolutely. They're not going to change. This is what creates excitement and drama at the same time. And people will turn up because of the unknown. It's tinfoil hat.
It is. It is. Well, taking all of this into account, you know, we have this article. We had Seth Rollins on the Rich Eisen Show giving his side of events here and what he's been through. What do you think's happening here? Do you think that any of these three scenarios, he's going to be out for a long time? He might be back by WrestleMania. That's his goal. Do you think that this is all a work and that they invented this whole thing? Or do you think that he does have some minor injury and they needed a way to sort of get him out of TV for a minute?
The safe bet or the safe answer, it will be the last one. That there was some injury that did happen. He might have aggravated his knee, and he needs more time for recovery. I buy that.
You buy that?
Yes, I don't think it's a new injury.
You don't think it was happened during the Saturday night's
No.
main event? I'm tending to agree with you.
Yeah, based on what I know when injuries do happen, I do watch a lot of men running, sprinting, and hitting balls. So I see injuries happen in real time.
For example, we saw Max Muncy on the Dodgers. He got slid into, and obviously he wasn't landing. It's not the same type of
Activity?
it's not the same kind of crash or impact injury. Nevertheless, he sprained one of his ACL or MCL because then you can clearly see his knee goes like wah, 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 wah.
A little wobble.
Yeah, a little wobble. And you could see, and your reaction is like, oh,
Yes.
you know, like, ooh, that doesn't look good. I hope he didn't like tear anything. Whereas when you watch the Seth Rollins, you're like, wait, what happened?
Yeah, it's questionable.
I kind of missed the wobble. I missed what he talked about. You know, that buckle. I don't see it. No, I'm not trying to call it out if it really did happen, but I'm just being honest. When you look at those two knee injuries side by side, like one clearly had a wobble,
One
and the
did
other
not.
one doesn't.
I don't think he made a new injury during that match because that will cheapen the LA Knight match too with victory.
Yeah, but that can always be like
Part of it.
utilized even later. Like LA Knight could be like, "Oh, you making up injuries on me? Yeah,
Yeah.
What? You can't do that to LA Knight."
True, that's true.
I mean, they
can
could just play
that
it
out.
up even
Yeah.
more. I mean, like to me, one of my greatest storytelling advices that I ever got was that you have to keep the gag going, and once you can't do that anymore, it's time to end the story.
No,
And
modern television never learned that one.
well, WWE's never learned that lesson because the gag never ends. You know, it continues to go. Look at even for Goldberg. You know, the gag is
Keeps
going.
going.
At the age of 57, and
Do you think he has a chance of returning?
no, I don't think he's
Really?
got a return, but I think he might make public appearances at like WrestleManias in the future and have to beat Goldberg for a second on the microphone. And
Oh, so
whenever
you
he
don't think
does a
he's-
public appearance like that, he's always going to be Bill Goldberg, just like Stone Cold's going to be Stone Cold Steve Austin, and Hulk Hogan's going to be Hulk Hogan, and
Okay.
the list goes on. The Undertaker, you know, it will always be the Undertaker to me, and the American Badass.
Okay.
You can roll with Rock. I'm not going to say the next line of that song.
Oh boy.
If he does have an injury, though, I don't think it was on the legs because they wouldn't be letting him jump around like from the top belt, from the middle belt, or from the ropes, from the top ropes, from the middle ropes. If he had some kind of even like I had a minor meniscus surgery when I was a kid, and I was out of action for a couple months. But I remember like I really wasn't physically limited after like 3 or 4 days. I was up and kind of walking around on my own again, no more crutches. And here he is 3 days, 72 hours plus after he got injured, and he is still like walking around on crutches, deciding whether or not he's going to have surgery. You know, when this happens in professional sports a lot, they've already had the surgery.
Yeah, they try to get him really quickly in there.
Of course,
as soon as the swelling is
worth
down.
something.
Yeah.
They signed a contract, and WWE performers sign those same contracts. Do you think Triple H doesn't
Yeah, it's
want
like-
him back performing as soon as possible? They're paying him.
Yeah.
That alone makes me question some of this.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't know how it works in the wrestling world, honestly, because we don't get real-time updates a lot with injuries. So we can know if we're being complete jackasses right now by even talking about it. I don't know. I see that sentiment out there. Like, if this is real, then, you should feel ashamed. And it's like, well, blame Triple H maybe for that, because, guys are getting slammed through tables in the middle of press conferences after the show. And
it's hard to keep up what's real, what's not.
it is. It makes you question things.